Well, hello everyone. This is Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child and last week's Life Skills Leadership Summit. Wow, we survived. Anyway, I think the group's been a little more quiet today, and that's probably been nice for all of y'all to maybe get back into a schedule. I know for me, my morning schedule was a lot easier today because I got up and did the things I normally do. A lot of times when I've got a summit going, I've got to go take care of summit things, and then eventually I'll get back and read my Bible. I miss some walks here and there, and today I actually just got through the whole regular routine of being able to read and pray and enter my gratitude journal, go on a walk. I actually got to walk down to the farm patch, which is, I don't know, it's about a 10 or 15-minute walk, and pick up some produce, some fresh produce. And it's sort of nice to get outside, even though it was freezing cold. Okay, I'm going to tell a story today, and I want to relate it to leadership because we've been talking about leadership. I guess it really is life skills. A couple of weeks ago I talked about I think one of the most important life skills out there, and that is love. And you can go back, and that happened to be on Valentine's Day. So you can go back and listen to that one if you want. But today what I want to do is talk about leadership lessons from a lost phone. You see, yesterday I lost my phone and it became stolen. So I'll sort of tell the story, and then I'd like to draw some conclusions from that as well. After church, I stopped at Walmart, which is like right across the street, to pick up some vitamins that they have that I usually will get at there. I really don't go to Walmart very often, but I also remembered that I needed a table lamp. I knew I needed something. I was looking on my phone. What is it? So I went over to the table lamp section, just a small little bedside table lamp because ours was broken. And so I went over there, and I remember I couldn't find the section, so I type in the Walmart app and I find it B32. So for some reason that was stuck in my head. So I get to the aisle, I finally go looking, and then I couldn't tell, they're all mixed up and I can't tell what price it is. So it's like, okay, I'll just use the Walmart app and put it, and then scan the little guy. Well, as I kept telling myself, no, get your phone back in your purse, get your phone back in your purse. But then I finally decided which lamp I wanted, and it was way up on top, on the top shelf. And so I set my phone down, got it, put it in my basket, and walked away. Not a smart move, but so I went and checked out. Actually, I'd had a great time at church, so I went over after church to a restaurant that has a patio, and I thought I'm just going to journal. And I pulled my phone out to see when the basketball game was that was on the TV there, and I couldn't find my phone. And I looked and I looked and I looked in the car, so I left and went back to Walmart and thought, oh, maybe, God, please, the whole way over, please do a miracle. Please, can we find my phone? And so I went over there, lamps, nothing there. I retraced my steps all the way through checkout and went to customer service. They didn't have it. No luck. They even tried to call the camera people to see if they could see anything. No luck. So I came home and I thought, okay, we've got to find my iPhone. I went to my desktop and I typed it in, and I really couldn't find anything at all. But I did know that my kids gave me this Apple Watch, and I was like, okay, I can at least text Gentry because she has an iPhone, and I don't know about y'all if you have one of these watches, but it is really, oh my gosh, it's actually transcribing what I'm saying right now. But I could get on there and I could write a short little text to her. And so we ended up calling each other on Facebook because I could get on Facebook and she didn't have WhatsApp, which is what I normally do. And so we got on and she helped me sort of work through. And I used my phone all afternoon to track where my phone was. It went everywhere. And so it was not at Walmart anymore. And so I called the police to find out what should I do. And they said, if you want to file a report on this phone that is now stolen, you'll have to come down. So, at least it was Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. No one was around. So I go down there and I fill out the report. And then they asked me a really hard question. Do you want to press charges? And I was like, I really just want my phone back. I don't care to press charges, but tell me what happens. Well, if you don't say that, then they're not really going to do much. You're just filling in a report for their records. So I said, okay, we'll press charges. And I will just tell you in a nutshell, over the next 4 hours, I was thankful that my neighbor next door has a phone. My landline doesn't work anymore, hasn't for several, like a year. Tomorrow they're going to come fix that. But I kept going over to my neighbor's house, and she was just so generous that she was using it all the time. I watched my phone go from the east side of town north to a town called Hearn, back down here into here, over to the west side, Bryan Walmart, and then back at someone's house. I'll know, but I was like, thank you, kids, for giving me this watch because when I chatted with all the people that I needed to chat with to turn my phone on lost, and turn my disable it on my phone carrier. The police called me before they went over to this house, which is where it sort of sat for a while, and then they said, "Go find out how far the ping goes," and so I did. And then we came back, and they called me afterwards, and they said, "Well, they said they've been home all the whole time, and so all day long." And I was like, "Okay." Because you don't know if it's exactly at that house or the next door house because it's 50 meters. Whatever shows up on my iWatch, it could be anywhere within 50 meters. And so he called and he gave me some pointers and said there were still some things he was concerned about, and he will fill out his report and it will actually go to a detective. So today it was supposed to go to a detective because it was a phone worth more than $500. Well, get this. So I go back to return my borrowed phone next door. We visit for a while. I come back. I'm like, I am wiped. I took a bubble bath and I ate dinner basically. Well, Gentry had been trying to get hold of me all night long, and she kept messaging me on our group me, which I could get on my phone, and I found my old iPhone 6, so it had to charge for a while, and that's when I realized Gentry was trying to get hold of me and my next door neighbor. You see, as soon as the police left, those people that had my phone called Gentry. On my phone, when I filled out the little iPhone report, it told me, you can leave a message. So when they try to open it up, it'll leave the message. So they actually called Gentry. She let him talk to her husband, Andrew, and they agreed to return my phone today. I don't have it yet. To Walmart. They didn't want to go to the police because I think they'd already lied to the police. And so they were going to go, they're supposed to go to Walmart because they didn't have a ride and they would have to go after school, which means about right now, school would be getting out. I was thinking, oh, maybe I could find devices. I have been watching this phone. It's been at the high school all day long. It is still at the high school when I look. Well, there we go. When you look at the little map on here. So that's my story. I don't have the phone. I prayed all day long. I'd like to give you some lessons that I have learned, character and leadership lessons. I do think the police scared the gajibis out of these kids. They were teenagers, and I'm sure they just picked it up and thought, oh, cool, I have an iPhone. They didn't realize they weren't going to be able to get it, and that within a few hours, a policeman would be knocking at their door. So, it was a little hard because I had such a great time at church, not just great time, fellowship with God. We had a time of praying with our neighbor for someone that we loved. It was awesome. I wanted to go journal and write all about it. And God said, we're going to change it. We're going to build some more character in you. We're going to teach you a few lessons. And so, I will be honest, as I drove from that restaurant over to Walmart, I wanted to cry. I just wanted to cry. I was like, oh gosh, really? And it wasn't so much of a phone. I'll talk about that in a minute. But it was all the memories, all the things on it, all the things I was going to have to do, like if it is lost, to replace it. But what I realized, and I begged God all the way over there, please let it be where I left it. But no, he said, no, I'm going to take you through some other things. Now, let's be really honest. I wrote this at the end, but a phone is a lot less important than a person. I was safe. No one did anything to me. We need to realize, and that's a leadership and a character lesson. We need to always put things in perspective. Things are not as important as people are. A phone is just a thing. And I'm telling you this, these are lessons I wrestled with yesterday. So I would think you as a mom should wrestle with them. But we need to teach our children this. A phone is just a thing. Now, I will be honest, I got online and started looking at how much it's going to cost me because I had just bought a brand new phone a little less than a year ago. Bought it all out. The reason I bought that phone was for the camera. I saw it more as a camera expense than a phone expense, but I wanted the camera to be able to take better pictures of my grandkids. Um, a phone is replaceable. Now, the photos may not be replaceable. Yeah, I got to fix the iCloud because I never upgraded and it's all full. So I need to go in and there's a lot of little things that I just never did take care of. But that's okay. Even if I lose the pictures, who cares? It is a thing. And we need to remember that people are more important than things. Also realize that this is all a faith issue. When we have valleys in our life, when we have trials, and this is, I mean, yeah, I like yesterday it was, ugh, but it was a mild trial. Let's be really honest. If we put a lost phone in perspective, if I put a lost phone in perspective of my life the last 6 years, and if you want to know my story, go listen to the Friday kickoff video because I tell all about the trials, the rejection, the betrayal, the abandonment. I didn't even dive all of the way into it. I just told you one of them. Every year for 6 years, I've had someone important in my life reject me. And so that has been difficult. I didn't even tell all of that. I just told a little bit of it. But this is a faith issue. Was my faith in God's sovereignty? And this is a chance that I think when things like this happen, this is the perfect chance to teach your kids about God's character. Talk to them about what does the word sovereign mean? He's King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He is in control of everything, and I am not. And that is a lesson we all need to learn. As a leader, we are not really in control. We are trusting in God. He is good. He is omnipotent. He is all power. His voice, he could just speak something and that phone could just appear on my front doorstep. You know, he could do anything that he wants. But he does what's best for me, what is best for me to grow me closer to him. And so when we have trials, when your children have trials, it is a faith issue and we need to talk through that. Now you may need to get through the hard part to talk about it, but talk to them as they're walking through it and say, look, God is, you don't have to use the word sovereign, just say God is in control. Another thing is prayer. A leader needs to be constantly praying about whatever is going on around them. And that is what I did pretty much all day long. I was praying as I went to the police and praying on the way back. So we need to realize that people are more important than things, phones. We need to realize our faith is in God and not in our things. And it seems so obvious, but let's be honest. How much time do you spend on this thing compared to how much time do you spend with God? How much time do you spend on this thing compared to your own children? Sort of sad. But that is what happens. We need to realize these are just things and God is more important. So, people are more important than things. God is in control. We need to trust in him and pray to him throughout all things, good and bad. Next is character lessons. Do I press charges? Wow. I didn't know I was going to have to answer a question like that. I asked, will the police listen? If I get my phone back, will the police listen to me? Because I don't know that I really want to press charges. What was going on in my head? I will just tell you. I wanted to be an example. When I didn't know where my phone was, I didn't even know if I was going to get it back or what was happening. But I wanted to be an example of God's forgiveness. I want to be an example of God's compassion and his kindness. It is the compassion of God that draws man to himself. And that's what I want to be a picture of, even right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to assume the detective is going to call me because he doesn't even know that I might get my phone back. I want to be an example of God, of God's love. I do not want to be an example of revenge. I want to show God's love to this teen or teenagers. I don't really know if it's a group of them or what. I want to be an example of God's love to the police department. I want to be an example of God's love to Walmart. I was getting a little perturbed at him this morning because I called to tell him what was going on. It took 4 or 5 phone calls. I would be on hold, bing, bing, like for 2 solid minutes. That poor operator, I think, was finally like, I better help this lady because she's going to keep going. So we do need to be an example of love as well. Let me just write something down that I just thought of. Okay, and This is something I think is important. You think that leaders don't need to love. And yet, if you were to take my Raising Leaders course on character, I have a whole lesson in that module on character on love. And I have a quote from the Southwest Airlines, Herb Kellner, or Keller, who founded Southwest Airlines. And he has this quote. He says, "A company is stronger if it is bound by love rather than by fear." And so that's what I want to be known for, is love, not fear. I have to tell you a little side story. First of all, if you don't know anything about Herb and Southwest Airlines, he is famous for creating his entire plan for Southwest Airlines on the back of one of those little cocktail napkins and transforming three jets into an airline, the largest low fare carrier, and they had 40 straight years of profit. If you want to go study a good leader, he would be one to go follow. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with all his lifestyle. But in 2000, it says Southwest removed, this is another lesson for leaders, just side note, it's a money thing. Southwest removed 3 nuts from each bag of peanuts, and it saved them $300,000 a year. 3 nuts. Now, is that creative? Is that thinking outside the box? Is that hopping off the conveyor belt? You better believe it. They took 3 nuts out of their little package, which that's all you used to get because you could fly for peanuts, and they didn't give meals. They just gave peanuts. And they saved $300,000 a year. That was amazing. Okay, back to love and example. The other character quality I think I want to talk to you about is perseverance. You see, I could have just left it in the police's hand and been done with it, and not really done anything else after that, and hope that they would find it. I persevered. I was diligent. And so that is something we need to teach our kids as leaders, just in dealing with problems. Leaders have to solve problems, hopefully as a team, but you solve a problem, you need to persevere and you need to be diligent. You know what I was doing every hour? If you just join me, see if I can pull it up. There's this little thing. I guess you can't see it because it keeps disappearing. There's this little thing right there called Find Devices. I click it, and every time I could go down to my devices on my iCloud and find the phone. And if you look right now, you can see a little map, and that little blue dot tells where my phone is. That's how I knew they went east of town to Curtin. They went north to Hearn. Then they came back and they went to the other Walmart in our town. Then they went home. Then they went somewhere, and then they went home again. And so every time they moved, I called the police dispatch. They gave me the phone number. And when they went to Hearn, that's completely outside of our realm, they gave me the Hearn one. So I called the Hearn people. I don't know if they dispatched, but the Bryan people were constantly doing it. And the police officer finally, when it sat at a place long enough, then that's when the police actually went to go ask about my phone. And anyway, I think that's something that's another lesson. Leaders persevere. Leaders are diligent. They act with integrity. So hopefully I would act with integrity and that I was kind. And so leaders need to have godly character. They need to have love, and they need to have perseverance. So this phones, people are more important than things. We need to put our faith in God's control in our situations. We need to pray. We need to realize that we should exhibit godly character, like love in a bad situation, like perseverance to deal with our problems. The other thing I think leaders do is they work as a team. My next door neighbor is so kind. She's a widow, and she's I don't know, about 10 years older than I am. And she was like, "Oh, Carrie, I don't need my phone. Just take it back over there and talk to the detective and get all the numbers off your computer." Because I had to go get a serial number and find a box. It was all sorts of stuff. All that to say is teamwork. Community works better than a person by themselves. And I've said this many times. Her kindness, her generosity, she was exhibiting God's love. The other thing, teamwork, Gentry, my daughter. I knew her phone number by heart. And so I put that on my phone. So anytime it popped up, it said, "This phone is lost. Please contact this phone number if you find it." Gentry was willing to keep up with what was going on. I think she wanted her husband to talk to them when they actually did call a few minutes after the police left their house. And so we kept up with each other, and she was willing to help me and keep up with even though she didn't have anything to do with this. The other thing I want to talk about is technology. Oh my. My neighbor and I were just laughing. I'm like, I came over in the middle of the day. I was like, okay, well, they've been to Curtin and now they're in Hearn. And then I went back and I said, oh, they've been to the other Walmart. Now they're on Clark Street. And so we're just laughing, going, can you believe what we can do in a little bitty watch? Technology is good. I am thankful that my kids gave me this Christmas gift. I don't think I could have tracked near as well on the desktop because it just didn't never give me the answers or specific places. I think technology is amazing. Now, technology can overtake our lives like this thing does. So I think we need to be controlling, but I think we as leaders, moms and dads, and as we raise our kids to be leaders, we need to teach them how to use technology in a positive way, to not cut corners and to not be oppressive with the technology that they have. And I also think we need to allow our kids, if they're interested in doing things with technology, not just playing games, but let them be creative. Who knows? Some person invented this thing and they had to be creative. Some person invented this. Who knows where it may have originally originated from? You never know. Your kids may invent the next thing, whatever that thing is, because I have no idea what it is. Which then leads me to the point I started with: things are less important than people. I think I want to sum all of this up with that people are more important than things. Our faith needs to be in God, and He is in control. We learn about God's character. We need to pray constantly through our valleys and through our mountaintops. We need to learn our character lessons, and we need to exhibit love and forgiveness and patience and compassion and exhibit perseverance and diligence. We need to work together as a team and use technology in a positive way as well. I had a little thought fly through my head as I was saying those, but I've already forgotten what it was. Let me sum it up by saying keep perspective. You need to keep perspective when your life is crazy. You may not lose a phone, but it may be crazy, crazy over at your house. Keep perspective. Keep an eternal focus. Know that whatever is happening today is probably not going to happen tomorrow. Keep perspective. Keep your focus on God. And always be grateful. You knew I would throw that in somehow. Oh, I know what I was going to say. And this comes down to gratitude. You know what happened in the middle of the afternoon? So I have Marcia's phone, and I've been trying to track and call different people. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to call the jury duty. I'm supposed to have jury duty right now today. So you're supposed to wait till 6. I thought maybe the weekend they already know the answer. I called jury duty and they said, if you are on this court, blah, blah, on February 28th, your jury duty has been canceled. I was like, okay, thank you, God. So today, as I pull my gratitude journal out, I had a lot of things to be grateful for. I could flip the bad situation of lost phone into gratitude. Thank you, I don't have jury duty, so I could still take care of this problem, which I could have done anyway. Thank you, I don't have jury duty, because I could catch up from last week being involved in the summit the whole week. Thank you that my neighbor had a phone and she was willing to let me use it. Thank you that the police go out there. Thank you these people, teenagers, called my daughter and son-in-law and they're willing to take it to Walmart. There was a lot to say thank you for. When we are going through a valley, there are always things to be thankful for. It may just be that I have a home. And some days I had a hot cup of coffee. Last year at this time we had the freeze. I could heat things on my stove because it was gas. So I was like, thank you, I have a gas stove. I can cook when the electricity isn't working. Because we didn't have electricity all day long a year ago at this time. No matter what bad things, no matter what valleys you're walking through, you can always be grateful. And I think a true leader is always showing gratitude. Gratitude about the things, whatever's going on, gratitude to the people that are underneath them, building those relationships. So, I did not even pull my phone up to see if there were any comments or if y'all were even, hey, Lisa, thank you. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Yes, I love this lesson you were sharing. Thank you so much. And Sherry, thank you for pointing out what we could always be thankful for in any aspect of situation. I do want to say that tomorrow I am going to talk even more specifically about leadership. The link is in the description, depending on where you're watching this. And it's completely free. It's a masterclass. I'm offering it on Tuesday and Wednesday. 4 steps to raising Christian leaders in your homeschool. Part of it is character building, and I will talk about this. Part of it is hopping off that conveyor belt and thinking outside the box. Part of it is getting your kids to be able to think critically. So that's a lot of what I was doing as well. You know, I really didn't think about the police. I sort of did, but talking to Gentry that very first time, I said, well, it looks like they're in Curtin. And she goes, I said, they're at this address. I said, the police could go. I didn't say police. I said, they could go out there. She was like, Mom, you're not going out there. I said, no, I'm not going out there. That would be foolish. But I can go call the police and tell them where they are and see if they would go out there. Well, by the time we filed the police report, we found the serial number and everything else. They'd already gone to Hearn, and it was 5 o'clock. So this all started at 12:45. I was over at my neighbor's house just giving her phone back. It was like 5:30 or 6. No, it was about 6 because Gentry called around 6:30 and after the people called her. Hey, if y'all have any other ideas about how to transform a valley, a bad situation, into something that is a character building process, a leadership lessons, just things that we can grow from personally and our kids, please leave a comment. And thank y'all, Kimberly, for being here, Sherry and Lisa and Charlessa. Thank y'all so much for being here. I needed to hear this. I'm trying to update an old website for a science camp. Oh my goodness, y'all don't know it, but I'm getting a new website this year. I was supposed to get it last year, and I've been putting it off, but I'm working on revamping it. Hopefully it'll be ready in the spring. So good luck, Charlessa. Anyway, all right, thanks so much. I hope you can join me tomorrow for the class, and I will see y'all later. I'm Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child.